record and go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, the recording is taking a moment to turn on. There we go. Let's go back to the PowerPoint, start over. Okay, we got a person coming in. Admit. Okay. So the nervous system responds to constant rapid changes. Sensory input allows you to get up from a chair while sitting, allows you to maintain your posture while you're in a chair, allows you to withdraw your hand from a hot stove or a piece of glass. The endocrine system is slower response with hormones such as growth hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, oxytocin, which plays a part in stimulating of the birth muscles and stimulating bonding between the mother and the child. So there's the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Brain and spinal cord are the CNS. Everything else outside the central nervous system. There's an afferent division which sends sensory input, first of all to the spinal cord and then to the brain. The efferent division is motor output from the spinal cord and the brain. The somatic nervous system takes care of the contraction of skeletal voluntary muscle, and the automatic nervous system controls digestion, respiration, urination, defecation, flow of the blood in the blood vessels. All that is output, motor output, to control all of the systems that have an automatic control system, the autonomic nervous system. Okay, central nervous system. So this diagram is missing something. How can that be? Look what it looks like here. What the hell's happening? So we have input from the receptors in the skin, for instance, and all the receptors throughout the guts and kidney, digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, heart, and all that sensory information is picked up by the afferent division, processed in the spinal cord and brain. Motor commands in the somatic nervous system. Efferent output controls contraction. The autonomic nervous system controls sympathetic fight or flight or rest and digest, and that's all the automatic control of smooth muscle in the gut, in the throughout the blood vessels, in the bronchioles, the bronchi of the lung, heart function, glands, and adipose tissue. That's really weird. Why has that disappeared? But anyway, it has. Okay, then we keep going. So we have neurons and we have neuroglial cells. So what the neurons do, they transfer, process, and store information. Any memory, any long-term memory that you have is stored somehow by protein accumulation or enhancement of certain action potentials of nerve spikes. Neuroglial cells, excuse me, neuroglial cells support the neurons, and phagocytes are there to protect against pathogens and take care of getting rid of dead cell tissue. So we have three classes of neurons. Those that deliver information are the afferent, AFF, motor neurons, efferent, that stimulate or inhibit peripheral tissues, and the association neurons, which form a bridge between sensory and motor neurons. And there's a lot of coordination and analysis that determines what muscle contracts when you get up from sitting down or you begin to walk. So these interneurons have taken all the information on the position of your nerves, position of your bones and joints, and the processing occurs automatically within the spinal cord. You can also override or drive activity from different parts of the central nervous system, which we'll get into. So nerves have a cell body, dendrites, and axon. What does that look like? So this is a multipolar neuron with dendrites that receive information from other nerves. There's a nucleus and nucleolus. There's mitochondria in the cell body. Information from other nerves is sent into these dendrites by biochemical neurotransmitters. Once those biochemical transmitters open up channels or little pipelines for, first of all, sodium to move in. If enough sodium moves in and there's enough of a voltage change in the cell compared to the outside, we'll have an axon message that in this case goes to muscle and causes muscle contraction. You have no muscle contraction within the skeletal muscle of the body. So picking up a book, walking, helping somebody with a heavy load, you're going to depend upon multipolar neurons stimulating particular muscles based upon your voluntary control from your brain and also the processing of interneurons that takes place in the spinal cord, first of all. Okay, so that's unipolar, multipolar, and bipolar. So what do they look like? So these are afferent neurons, so the unipolar one. They carry information from the exterior, from the skin, from the gut, from the lungs, from the kidney, are involved in sending information about CO2 levels, your pH levels, how much oxygen is dissolved in your blood. So that's afferent neurons. Multipolar neurons are efferent. They are sending out messages to muscles and smooth muscle and different parts of your guts, like your heart and your respiratory system, your blood vessels, and so on. So this is the efferent. So the abundance of multipolar neurons for output to control muscles and function of your body that is automatic is taken care of by multipolar neurons. Unipolar neurons receive information and it's sent to the spinal cord, and then it's processed by interneurons, and it's also sent to the central nervous system. Bipolar neuron is involved in the retina, primarily in the retina. It's rare, but it's involved in the retina. Okay, nerve glue, neuroglial cells form the blood-brain barrier. Astrocytes, oligodendrocytes coat nerves to help insulate the axons to speed up transmission, and that causes white matter within the brain. Microglial cells are phagocytes that attack pathogens such as bacteria and clean up dead cell tissue. Appendable cells line the brain and the cavities, and they make where the cerebral spinal fluid is produced. So what do they look like? So here's an oligodendrocyte. Notice that it has a process that's forming a complete coating of the nerve with this fatty insulation. So these are oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocyte means few branches in Greek. Oligarchy is a few leaders. Monarchy is one leader. So hopefully we'll have many people leading, and talking to one another. So here we have the oligodendrocytes that insulate the nerves to increase conduction. Microglial cells, which help clean up waste and attack pathogens. Then we have the appendable cells that line the cavities where central nervous fluid is moved around, and to keep the brain healthy and to help get rid of waste. With the blood cells, here are the blood cells and the astrocytes here involved in the blood-brain barrier, and the central canal, the vesicles of the brain, are coated by these appendable cells. Okay, in the peripheral nervous system, satellite cells surround the cell bodies, and Schwann cells form myelin sheaths. The whole purpose of these myelin sheaths is to insulate and create movement of action potentials of nerve spikes or nerve impulses to move very quickly. For instance, all of your motor neurons, multipolar neurons, are insulated by myelin that greatly increases the conduction speed. Okay, so neurons take part in information process, control the functions of the nervous system. So sensory input, motor output, analysis by interneurons or association neurons. The neuroglial cells are very, very numerous and preserve the physical and biochemical structure of nerve tissue and help survival of neurons. Now let's go back and turn off this first lecture. And do we have anybody coming in? Allow. Okay, so we're going to turn off the stop recording for a moment. Stop.